I have never been as scared as I was that night in the Stanley. We were here in the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado for our first ghost hunting experience. We got the Ghost Adventure package, so our room is on the 4th floor on one of the more haunted areas, apparently, or more active areas of the hotel. We're going to try to do some communicating with some spirits. We've got a handy app that we downloaded called Ghost Radar. It's interesting. It shows you kind of a readout of the space, and it also picks up like specific words, letters, different things like that that are kind of along different frequencies, and that it's picking up in your area. So we've had some interesting experiences through that app. We went on the ghost tour earlier, had some kind of wiggy moments, but still lots that still registered and was of note. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. We've got some tarot cards. We're going to try to do some communicating through the cards, through just various ways. So we're going to once again ask if there are any entities in the space. If those entities would like to share their name, please do. What is your name?
Rest.
Rest. Rest. So you want to rest, or you want us to give it a rest? Okay, hearing stuff coming from this wall behind us is kind of creepy because there's nothing back there but this half kind of open door. We're not really sure where the door leads, but it's kind of cracked open.
But it's the only door in the whole hotel we've seen that's cracked open a little bit.
Yeah. So again, hearing the stuff back behind us on this wall, since there's no other room sharing this wall, is unsettling some. If you want us to give it a rest, we apologize. We're just getting started. We don't mean any disrespect. We don't mean to upset any of the entities or spirits in the area. Please know that if you do not feel like commenting, don't. Divide. You want us to divide?
It asked us earlier to separate.
It did ask us earlier to separate, and then once we did, and we were like, okay, is that good? We did get another word that said complete, so it was like we completed that task. So divide, they want us to kind of to move apart a little bit. So we're going to kind of separate somewhat. I know it's not that far, but we want to both stay in frame, so I apologize. The other creepy thing is because if you put rest and divide together, we're on the bed, and so it's like they wanted us to divide so they could rest. So like they're laying, I just got some chills. And I don't know if I'm giving these chills to myself or if someone else is giving them to me. It's a good question. That's what we're here to find out. What the fuck was that? Okay, so that was out the window. That was something from out the window. It was probably like an iron gate. Perhaps a bit of context is in order. I'm Rob. I have a tendency to be dramatic. As an Army brat, I was born and spent part of my early formative years here. And I spent those years listening to stories like these. So, yeah, just go ahead and...
Okay, well, understand that I spent 20 years in the Army working mostly on missiles, Hawk missile systems.
The Hawk, which uses a homing device guidance system to knock out low-flying enemy aircraft.
Did 3 tours of Germany, 72 to 75, 76 to 79, and then 83 to 87. The first 2 tours, 72 to 75 and 76 to 79, most of that was on the same missile site in Germany, outside a little town called Kirchgoens, sitting on a hill. And the missile site, the remote missile site, we call it the tactical site or TAC site, was co-located with an Army caserne, but we were on the kind of the north end of the caserne all by ourselves and isolated. According to the story, back in World War II, that site had been a Nazi encampment, and a bunch of Nazi soldiers were there for several months. And according to legend, during that period when the Nazis were there, a 16-year-old farmer's daughter was caught, captured by the Nazis, and they raped her and then they killed her. And according to stories, her name was Liz, and her ghost haunted that site. And everybody that ever stayed there heard the story of Liz, and many people would attest that Liz was real. I can tell you that especially my first tour, I was lower enlisted, and we had to take turns walking guard around the perimeter of the missile site. And late at night, you're walking around, and it was eerie. It was dark, unless you were walking along the fence where there was a spotlight, and then those were far few and in between. And there were occasions when I swear I felt a hand on my shoulder, and you turn around and look, nobody there. That happened a lot of times. There was one story in particular that I remember. It's snowing, and it had snowed a lot, and was still snowing. And I was pulling manning on the site, standing up there 24 hours, and it was late at night, about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and where our ready building was, where everybody was staying, was probably 50, 75 yards away from the motor pool. And along the motor pool was our 2.5-ton trucks, our deuce and a half. They all sat outside the motor pool, side by side, and all of a sudden, they were all cranked up and running, just idling and sitting there. And when we went down to check them out and shut them down, there were no footsteps anywhere near those trucks except ours. So how did the truck start up? What started up the trucks? And so a lot of people swear that it was Liz playing games with us. And there were many stories about her doing those types of things. And many of the people that worked there in my unit swear of the stories of Liz and feeling her hand on their shoulder as they walked guard. And I can tell you that I felt it as well. Now, was it from the generators that powered our missile systems, and just the humming, the vibration, or just the sense that maybe somebody was there? Who knows? But when you're walking around guard at 3 o'clock in the morning, and everything is quiet, nobody's around, and you literally feel something pressing on your shoulder, then you tell me what it was. I will always believe it was Liz.
So it's no wonder I always believed in and was fascinated by ghosts and tales of the supernatural. Then I met Angie. She's also known for being a bit dramatic. And to celebrate our anniversary in 2016, we shelled out the shekels to make the most amazing thing happen. We would stay a night at the Stanley Hotel. I'd gone to a couple of ghost hunting sessions at the college and participated in a couple of events there, and that's where I kind of, through those experts and those people who hosted those sessions, is where I got a lot of my ideas for how to kind of approach it and what I should do. Angie, just being familiar with the tarot, was how we brought that in. Naturally that fit really well. Spirit cards are really good for communicating with spirits. Awesome.
Whoa.
Pull. Pull what? What do you want us to pull? Pull the footage? Pull the camera? Pull the...
Pull a card.
Pull a card. Oh my god, pull a card. So we pulled a card. Angie randomly pulled the Daughter of Swords. I don't know if you can see the card there. There it is. That is the card that was pulled.
Has to do with passions. Fire.
Okay, so we were asking how long you've been in this space. We pull a card, talks about passion, talks about fire. Was there a fire? There is a sword. Again, there's a blade. So you have crime of passion. So were you, was your life ended by someone else here? Okay, I'm getting a ringing in my ear. Suddenly. I'm getting more stuff outside, more noise from that car, or that engine, whatever the fuck that is. Don't know what it is. I wish it would go away. Pulled another card.
We're part of a creative team.
Passion. Part of a creative team. The Stanleys, was it maybe... them? I mean, the photographers,
Right,
the Stanleys were
photographers.
photographers, and they actually made their living, or earned quite a bit of living via photography and their photos. Are we perhaps talking to one of the Stanleys? Again, we're getting this revving engine outside.
You want to close the window and see if that helps?
Yeah. Okay, we just got a note
Right.
that said anybody. We said if you're asking if anybody's here, if anyone can hear you, anybody, we are listening. And it said right, so then we got the word right that came through. So again, lots of chills, hair standing up on my arms. It's kind of an interesting experience. So one of the things that I did learn with Tom and going through the ghost hunting at the school is that sometimes the answers come by late. So like we may not be getting the same answers. Like this right may not be related to the last word that we heard, like anybody. This right could be referring to our last questions, talking about if we're talking to one of the Stanleys. That's what that could be. Again, it was a creative team, passion. So yeah, interesting. I just got an email from Facebook, probably unrelated. Building off of the idea that you don't always hear the responses right away, you also have to play back the footage and audio that you collected to make sure that you're not actually capturing things that you just didn't pick up with your naked ear initially. So all of the footage, and including all of the pictures that we accumulated over our stay, would have to be meticulously and arduously combed through to make sure that there wasn't anything there that we just missed the first time. It was a long, hard process, but we got it done. Okay, there's people moving around out in the hallway.
Hopefully.
We heard people talking and moving out in the hallway. Hopefully that's actual people out in the hallway moving around talking. They're probably investigating this creepy ass fucking door over here, trying to figure out why the fuck it's cracked too. So Is there either one of us that you would like to say something to in particular? Would you like to say something to Angie? Do you have a particular message for Rob? And we'll be playing these back to see if we hear any sounds, hear any answers or responses.
Nope.
There seems to be nothing here right now.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything really happening. The radar seems to be clear. We're not getting any responses. What made you pull the cards the times that you pulled the cards? Did you have a particular...
If I felt like the question could be answered with a card, that's what made me pull.
Okay.
Other than the pull.
Right. Other than when we were instructed to do so. Okay, so right now it seems dead, so we're gonna... Alright, we're back. We've turned the camera back on. We turned it off for a minute because we did actually communicate with some entities earlier, it seemed, who did not want the camera on. So we turned the camera off and did some stuff. I recorded the various candy and suckers that we had placed around. There's a story there. Yeah, wait for it. Yeah, the suckers we got on our ghost tour, and we were told by our guide that the children, the ghosts of the children especially, are very playful, and you can get them to play with you by taking these suckers, and we've got them set up like we had in front of the TV, standing upright with the sticks in the air, and you would sit them in the palm of your hand and invite them to play, and there would be movement, manipulation of the candies. So, and you would have to have your hand set still so that naturally you're not moving it. So we've set that up around there. We've set the candy up in the mugs and over by the mugs because we want to kind of test overnight if anything kind of gets shifted around or moved while we're, possibly asleep or just maybe not in the room, out in the hall doing other things while our attention is shifted elsewhere. Because we're on the 4th floor, and apparently the 4th floor here is the floor that is inhabited by a lot of the children. And the ghosts of the children, because this is where they used to play in the hotel. They used to be up...
It was like the attic.
Yeah, it was like the attic, and so this is where the kids would go and be confined while the parents, were down on the lower floors. So the kids still typically, apparently, routinely play here. They run up and down the halls. There's laughter, things like that. According to our guide from earlier, an employee of the hotel, we should say that. But, so we've set that up to see if anything happens.
It did not.
While we had the camera off, we had an exchange using the Ghost Radar app. And one of the things that the Ghost Radar app does is it creates a log of the words that it picked up and the things that it kind of got. And we were asking questions about the entities in the room that wanted to communicate. We were asking about different things. And we got, as soon as I put the camera up, I made an announcement that the camera was put away. And we got the word worried. So we asked if they were worried about the camera. We asked if they were worried, what they were worried about. And they said pond. We got the word pond. I say they said. We got the word pond popped up on the app. Let's remain skeptical for Angie's sake, for she's a skeptic. She's the skeptic, I'm the believer. We're like, DJ Jazzy Jeff from the Fresh Prince. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper.
Or
Anybody remember
Mulder
that?
and Scully, that's so much better.
Huh. That's even relevant today still. Shit. That was a good one. Fuck. How did I miss that? So yeah, Mulder and Scully here. We've got our own X-Files happening here. But in a hippie kind of 70s style, apparently. according to our guide earlier. So after we got the word pond, we started trying to piece these things together. We drew some cards, and kind of tying things together from before, where we got the daughter of swords, we got the son of cups, and cups apparently,
In water, emotions.
yeah, water and emotions.
We kind of tied it to water.
Right. Especially since we had already heard worried, we got worried and then pond. So we have emotions, we have water, and that's what this card represented, you know, the two of cups, or the son of cups. Then we drew another card. Did we draw the card first, or did we get the word first? I think we got the word first.
We got the word first.
So we got the word first. We were and there was a letter scrolling across the bottom. It was picking up H's and E's. So we were asking, are you worried about a he, a him, you know, and in relation to the pond? And so we got a name actually. We got Sam popped up on the radar. Interestingly enough, so we drew a card again, and that's when we got the father of swords. Now, earlier we had the daughter of swords, which was the owl on the little dagger. This was a big, fully grown owl with a bigger sword and a colorful sword. Things that I read after the fact that talked about the people who died in the flooding in the pond, in the Stewart Pond, or the pond area there. I don't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but there's lots of things that popped up that could be, you know, oh, that's supernatural. I mean, if you want to believe that, that's probably an easy thing for people to believe, you know, because some of the things line up. Right now the radar is clear. We haven't had any activity or motion and anything for a little bit since we got the camera back out. So they seem very shy about the recording devices. Interestingly enough.
I wonder if we could just record audio.
If we just put the lens cap on, if that would work. Let's see. We're going to try that now. So we're just recording audio. We're not recording video. This is just audio. The camera is not actually getting video. Are there any entities in the area that would like to communicate? Don't want even the audio. Okay, not picking up anything on the radar. Some more F's though. Oh shit. Suddenly we had three blips on the radar all at once. 3 spirits and several F's, and now some L's. Do we have some kids? A group of kids coming through now that we've got candy set out. F, 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 L, L, F. Lots of F's and L's. Did you put the cards up?
Yeah. Because I was getting on and off the bed.
Well, we're getting the cards back out. So if there's any entities that would like to communicate through the cards, please feel free. Try to flesh out this F and L that you're giving us. Is this some kind of frequency, some kind of low frequency you're wanting to communicate on? We've got a couple bright green blips. Please come in and stay. Again, the camera is on, but it's only recording audio. So if there's anything that you would like to say, if there is an entity in the room, please speak.
Why didn't I bring the traditional?
Sold. F-E-E-O. Feo. Fee. Fee. Sold.
Detail.
That seems like a detail. Did we land on a detail? If you would like to communicate, please keep going. What is your name?
Lovers.
Lovers sold? lovers, the Stanleys, sold fee, they came here. Do they feel like their idea has been sold out? In all of my life, I have never been as scared as I was that night in the Stanley. I mean, that's the kind of thing I wanted to come away from there saying. That's the way I wanted to begin all of my stories from that night. But, I mean, did anything substantially verifiable happen? I mean, were we talking to the spirit of Freeland Stanley? Probably not. But, I mean, these things, the things that happened, could point to that and could certainly be made to feel that way. And we could certainly be led to believe that if you believe that that app was working right. But I don't know anything about that app. I don't know about how that app works, the makers of it. I don't know where those readings come from, if they're reading anything or if they're just randomly generated by the code of the app. So I don't know, there were some creepy things that happened, but there were some explanations for probably all of them that could be grounded in something very natural and something very real. So us having to close our window because there was noise outside from other guests, the noise that we heard from the people in the hallway, I mean, that matches up to some of the stories of ghosts and of the hauntings that you read about from the Stanley. You know, guests returning from a party, just running up and down, and just people moving about in the hallway. But we didn't get up and verify that those weren't actually, those voices weren't actually attached to people we could see. But, I mean, those things are there. Those questions remain because I want them to. Because I was primed to believe some of these things that were happening were going to be supernatural. I was expecting them to be. So that's going to automatically put me in the mindset to believe that the things that were happening couldn't be explained otherwise. Even though I was trying to remain skeptical, probably didn't do a good job of it. I got creeped out several times, and that's understandable. I was psychologically primed to be creeped out. Everything about that place is to get you in that state of mind and to make you start going in it from that perspective. In the end, while I have more questions and nothing was verified, we had an amazing time. We had a blast, and whether anything or not, otherworldly happened, there were moments that felt otherworldly. There were moments that gave me that sensation, that gave me that cringe, that just made me believe. And I think that's kind of the magic of that place, and just being in a place like that. And maybe it's just the magic of being that primed and put in that state of mind going in. But it was an amazing experience. So again, I think it all goes back to the magic, and you have to want to believe, and I think that if you're that Scully about it, or if you're that Mulder about it, that's going to dictate the kind of experience maybe that you have. But even Angie seemed to have a good time, and she wants to go back just as much as I do. So